I am the asshole, and a decade later, I'm still not sorry. This is an ancient tale of mine, but it crossed my mind this morning and felt this community might appreciate my youthful, asshole-ish decision-making. I'm currently 31F, but it all started when I was 20-ish. There was a horrific, traumatic loss in my life. As I was down spiraling in grief, I moved in with my older cousin Amy, who I had generally always been close with. She had a munchkin who was almost one at the time. I ended up living with them for about 3 years until the night it all fell apart. At the time it all unraveled, I worked midnights. I would keep my midnight sleep schedule during the week, but would flop to a normal sleep schedule on weekends so I could spend as much time with my BF as possible, as he had to drive an hour, one way, just to visit weekly. Pure chaos, but I was thriving, so whatever. I survived. The night it all went down was the night I was flopping from midnight's life to the normal human sleep schedule, so I had been awake for almost 24 hours by 8 p.m. Myself, my BF, Amy, Amy's BF Steve, and our mutual friend were all gathering at our place for some drinks. When Steve arrived, he took Amy so they could get a top-up of booze before we cracked anything open. They said they'd be 30 minutes tops and asked us to wait. 40 minutes went by. I texted to see how far off they were. The answer I got was vague. Whatever, Amy is weird like that sometimes. I texted again at an hour. Then 15 minutes after that. Another text at an hour and a half. Always vague responses without any real information. I was getting frustrated. Again, we weren't going to start drinking until they got back. They knew this. And more importantly, Amy knew that if I didn't get some booze in me by 9 to 9:30, I'd be down for the count. I made sure to remind her of this several times. The booze was what was going to keep me conscious for the night. I'd have started drinking without her if she'd told me she was going to be a while, but she didn't tell me what was happening or give any indication of a time frame, even when I'd specifically ask. We just sat around, miffed, thinking Amy and Steve were right around the corner, to be back any moment. When they finally came back through the door over 2 hours later, they had Steve's dog as a surprise. I don't remember what I said, but I yelled. I was effing furious at how inconsiderate of a decision that was, and my tired state didn't help with my emotional regulation. I mean, sure, get the dog. But tell us you'll be a bit, and that we should start drinking without you. Not that you'll be right back and to just wait. After the hour mark, I honestly only stayed awake to rip her a new one. She did not understand why I was so mad. We argued briefly before I just went to bed, but the argument continued the next day. During that bit, she threatened that if I left, she'd never let me see her daughter again. That was it. Decision made. I won't let you use your daughter like that with me, and I won't subject myself to that sort of manipulation. I started re-examining her past behavior as I packed and realized Amy was never a good person. She was always cruel and rude whenever the opportunity would present itself, no matter who she was speaking to. Once, at a mutual friend's birthday party, she directly told the birthday girl, who was a large woman, that she should never lose weight because then she'd be prettier than her. Similarly, she seemed very frustrated when I went through an insane fitness shape and was suddenly in better shape than her. Amy never helped with my depression or grief like I'd convinced myself she did. In fact, she pretty much flat out ignored it. Even when I told her I was having thoughts. Amy was a bully. Meaner than Regina George kind of bully. It wasn't the first time she showed her true colors, but it was the first time I could consciously see her for who she was. With all that, and a million other consistently toxic and selfish memories ranging from childhood to adulthood, I moved out within the next 48 hours. But, here's where I become the asshole of the story. I took something that was technically not mine. It was something I'd gifted her a month before for Christmas. You see, I bought a really nice, really considerate and expensive gift for my loving, caring cousin who supported me through many trying times in my life. But while re-examining everything on that last day, I realized that Amy had none of those qualities. She wasn't nice, she was mean. She wasn't considerate, she was self-absorbed. And she was about as supportive as damp cardboard. The woman I thought Amy was never existed in the first place. Since my gift was for someone who apparently didn't exist, I fucking took it with me. I know that it 5,000% makes me an asshole, and I don't think I'd make the same choices were I able to do it over, but I still don't regret taking that $1,000 couch with me. It's still in my living room a decade later. Not sorry. ETA, since this has popped up a few times, she took me in because she needed a roommate and help with childcare. I took her up on it for some company to distract from my grief. We agreed to split bills 40-60 since I was gonna help with childcare. Found out that I was the one paying closer to 60% when I asked her what 50% would be for my last month. She gets no points for taking me in.